I'm a vocal coach based in Glasgow. Now, hiya. Damn, that was a neighbour. That's awkward. Something really bad or really good will happen. Like, you've persevered and you got to the end, here's a reward. Or, oh no, you filmed to them, you're cursed forever. And, I don't know. Blech. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Scott-Thorne and I am a vocal coach based in Glasgow. Now, if you'd like to meet and explore your voice a little more, you can find me on sstvocals.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and Patreon, and I'll put my handles down below and over there. There. It was a bit dark. So if you'd like to consider becoming a patron, you have access to things like early release of reactions, you can become a reaction, fast track reactions, there's special roles on my Discord server, there's educational patron exclusive videos on there, Vocal Anatomy 101 if you will, so consider becoming a patron and help shape my channel. Okay, if you follow my YouTube page, if that's even a thing, you'll have seen on my stories that I think I'm cursed because there's a band that every time I try and record to, something goes wrong. I've lost my memory card, I've lost the foot off of my camera, there was builders in next door, like when I went to hit record. Just stuff seems to happen every time I come to listen to this band. And it's this one, it's Heilung. So I've got this eerie feeling that I'm cursed at the moment by this band, but we're still gonna do it because I'm determined. I'm determined, it's been asked for, so I am going to do it. Now, I don't really know anything about this band apart from that they're from Europe, and that the song is called Lifa in Maidjan, which I believe means life, possibly of a maiden, I don't know. I'm just guessing. But I don't know the style of music, I don't know anything, so let's just go and see what we think. Okay. Still not quite sure what I'm looking at. Oh, hello. So, first impressions is this is very kind of tribal sounding music. It's almost like a chant. When this guy first started singing there, he was making his arytenoid or arytenoid rattle. They're the things that basically open and close your vocal folds. So you get that kind of sound. And when you pull that up through your range, you can make a real kind of roary kind of sound, which is what he just did. It's really, really cool. I'm liking all the like things that are going on in the background as well. This feels to me like it's going to be like as much a performance piece of art as it is music, but we'll see. Okay, I'm going to have to jump in at some point. So there's a real kind of, it almost sounds like an incantation is going on. They're kind of coming in and overlapping and saying the same phrase over and over and over again, I think. It's really powerful, especially with, I think that lady's playing a baran, which is like a really old style drum. You have like a beating stick and you hold it like this and you tap it. It's a really interesting instrument. My cousin played one, or plays one, with this Celtic band, so I'm quite familiar with that instrument. The vocals here sound quite similar to like throat singing. There's a lot of that kind of sound that's coming through. So I don't know what the words are, but the texture's doing a lot of the work, and it's just making this sound really heavy and really dark. Can't get rid of it now. Either way, really, really good. I'm enjoying this. It's powerful. Oh, that was really cool. So that shows what that kind of sound does as you pull it up into like a higher place, as you stretch your folds on that sound. So that kind of sound turns into much more of a kind of almost like a fry, screamy sound, whilst not being the same thing. It's just got a lot of similar kind of characteristics in texture. Really, this is so cool. Like, it does feel like art. Oh my god, there's so much going on! Oh, this is going to take forever to get through. So, they were both using slack folds in different ways. You could call it a fry as well. It's where your vocal folds aren't tensing to make notes. They're just flapping around, quite loose, bubbly almost. Now the lady, she did it on a high place, so it sounded a bit like a scream that was being cut in and out, and that's just because the tone was coming in and then she was slackening on it, so you got this real kind of weird stretchy sound, really kind of creaky, whereas the guy at the bottom, his was really low place and it's almost sounded like kind of a rolling thundery kind of sound. Slack folds are such a useful thing to have, and it's quite a healthy sound to make as well. You can't really hurt yourself doing fry. So there's just so much going on here. You can hear where he opens his mouth on some of these phrases and kind of smiles into some phrases. It gives it this kind of tense stretch to it, which is in total kind of juxtaposition to when he's going, oh, and he's just letting everything kind of roll around. Yay! Oh, hear the difference? There's like a real change in the shape of that sound. I also find it kind of funny that he's screwed screwed the microphone clip onto the end of an antler just to give it like that real authenticity up to the very last point where they need to have some technology in play. Oh, they're so cool. I'm loving this. There's a real good use of harmony in here. It almost sounds like it's in unison, but then at some point somebody shifts up ever so slightly and it kind of tricks your brain. You're almost like have to lean into that sound. It's very captivating. I've just touched that thing again. Which just kind of aids in that kind of casting of a spell kind of feeling. You kind of feel like you're getting sucked into that sound. They are phenomenal. See where it's a lot more obvious the second time round, they definitely jump into their harmonic places there, and you get that real change. Oh my god, they're so good. I just want to give a little bit of attention to the actual presentation of this. It's hugely important. I mean, if this was them all like clean and pampered, wearing like jeans and t-shirts, it would still sound good, but it wouldn't have this kind of emotional impact to the level that it's coming through at. This is as much a feast for the eyes as it is for the ears, and the two together just make sense. It tells a story. It's so primal and shamanic, and there's just, it's, yeah, spellbinding. I'm kind of gobsmacked. That was a really nice use of a scoop that fell into a fry. So it just feels like it's kind of scooping and kind of turning over and just dissipating into kind of a mist. Such a visual way of thinking of sound. It's really, really impressive. They have this wall when they want it, and then it breaks down. It kind of feels like things are coming at you from all over, and then they disappear, like all at once. This is messing with my head. Oh, did you see how this guy here with the kind of tied up mohawk, how he kept that going past, I'm going to call him like the chief. The chief stopped and he kind of kept going, ah, and he held on to that texture for ages. These little choices are really important. If you pick up on them, you'll see that they're filling in space with sound, with voices, drums, whatever it is that they need. At the moment, it just feels like it's voices and percussion, which is incredible because it's so full sounding. I'll take a little moment to talk about what's happening with their larynxes. To me, this all sounds very vertical, so they're not tilting onto anything to make it sound singy. It's all kind of like this and very vertical, which is more a speechy kind of place, which if you are doing what could be regarded as like a chant, I mean, this is as close as you're going to get, really, then that vertical sound helps to make that carry. It's very, very like abrupt and in your face. They're not trying to sweeten anything up. This is kind of raw. Very, oh, it's great. Was this just the opener? Because that was incredible if that was just like the intro. We've still got a fair few minutes to go, so I don't know. It just feels like everything's dropped out from under it now, and something's going to happen, but we'll see. That scream there, you'll see how he kind of goes like this and really digs in. That's him using his anchors, so he's spreading that effort along his body so that the pressure isn't coming straight from the larynx. He's kind of letting that evenly distribute. So although it sounds super intense, it's actually just very well supported in that sound. And then when you add in that arytenoid rattle, it sounds really roarish. It's really effective. This was lovely. So that was just a really small, light build. There's a wee crescendo. That was where you're getting a little bit of that tilt that I was talking about before, where everything was vertical before. This is now starting to tilt into a more sung kind of place. You hear a little bit more sweetness out of her voice. And the scoop was so gradual. Ooh. Very, very light and really well controlled. A delicious little break in that kind of almost horrific sound. And I don't mean horrific as in it's bad, but like it's got that kind of horror-y feel to it. And that was just like a little glimmer in the dark. Lovely. So what I was saying about that light and that little break, they're starting to build that darkness around that like bright sound. So any kind of feeling of relief, say, you would get from that little moment, you're starting to feel that dread creep in. It's so effective. I love that little throw she did with her voice, that ooh. That to me sounds really, really, really tribal. It's a really tribal sound in my head, and it's so super well controlled. Almost sounds like a bird call. And you have to be really delicate with that. It's the slightest little movement to make that as effective as it is. So she's a great singer. Notice how she's opening her mouth to get those higher notes sounding really big and bright. And you can see she's controlling that sound with her hand like that. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So she's using visual indicators, even though, I mean, I don't know if she can see through that fringe, but she's using her body to instruct her voice, which is a really useful tool. She is insanely good. She's using her voice for more than singing. This is like just primal sound, emotion, connection. It's hugely cerebral. Obviously, there are things that she's doing physically with like her anatomy to make these sounds, but it almost takes a back seat to the message that she's giving off, and she's not even saying any lyrics. She's just making sound, but it's so connective. Oh, so good. That belt was super strong. So the larynx was sitting really high to make that sound nice and bright. You could see, I mean, you could only see from the top of her head from that video, but you could see she was like rigid. So the anchors were in play, just like the guy that was shouting or like roaring. She really had to buckle in to let that sound project, but let the effort spread evenly. There was a lovely bit of texture coming through in that belt as well. And like some of her phrases before, she ends by flipping it onto this super light head voice sound. It's really quick. You kind of blink and you miss it kind of thing. But she's just insane. She uses so much of her range as well. And to kind of pull from a head voice and flip into a chest voice and back with it sounding super blended out, that's complex stuff. My brain is fried watching this. This percussion is just driving the song. It feels like I'm on a track. like an unstoppable force, and you're just being taken along with it. It's powerful. The word is powerful. I don't know what half these instruments are either. Like at one point it looked like a guy was sawing a baguette in half, but it's some form of like tin with strings, I think. I have no idea, but I'm loving it.
Lajaugis Ayurzi Au is Urki Uinis Ik
Oh my word. That was insane. I have no words. Hopefully I managed to break down some stuff in there for you, but that's something to be experienced. That's a hard thing to sit and analyze, really, because that was just like a force of nature, for want of a better word. So hope you liked that reaction. If you did, please give it a like and a thumbs up down below. And if you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and anytime I have new content, you will be the first to know. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me. And how are we going to buy this one? Because this is left field, like by a long way. Let's do the arytenoid thing, shall we? So just say thank you so much for joining me, and bye! Bye!